You're listening to Witch Wednesdays, a semi-weekly podcast source for all things witchcraft in the modern world. Join your host, Steph, on Wednesday mornings to chat about seasons, Sabbats, and all new witchcraft topics to help you make your life more magical. Welcome back to Witch Wednesdays. I'm Steph, and you are listening to this month's monthly magic episode for the month of July. I can't believe we are halfway through 2024, heading into this second half of the year. I did do a mid-year panic series of videos over on YouTube, so in case you missed those, be sure to head over there and subscribe. Those went up last week. And I am very excited to head into the second half of the year now after doing that, because it just felt like, okay, have a little panic and then get my life back in order and get back on track for it this second half of the year. I hope you are staying cool where you are. I know the world has absolutely been on fire this last week. It's been pretty terrible here in Chicago, and I'm looking forward to better temperatures this coming week, which is surprising for the month of July because we are at the peak of summer, but I think it's going to be a little bit better temperature-wise than June. At least I have my fingers crossed. The month of July is named after Julius Caesar, who was a Roman general and statesman who played a pretty significant role in the rise of the Roman Empire. The Roman calendar underwent several reforms throughout history, and Julius Caesar in particular implemented the Julian calendar in 46 BCE. Before this reform, the Roman calendar was based on lunar cycles, and it had 10 months, with the year starting in March. The months of January and February were later added, making July the 5th month of the Roman calendar. Originally, July was called Quintilis, which comes from the Latin word for 5. But after Julius Caesar's death, the Roman Senate wanted to honor him by renaming the month Julius, or July, and this change took place around 44 BCE. And then similarly, August was named after Caesar Augustus, Julius Caesar's successor and the first Roman emperor. The tarot card for July is the Devil. And this card shows where you might have any attachments, and has this reminder that our bindings and anything holding us back is often self-made and can be undone at any time. The numerology for July is the number 6, and this influence advises that this month is a good time to put everything in order and be realistic about what can be achieved. So I think that definitely came across in my mid-year panic of sort of figuring out goals and redoing things and making progress on that, changing things up. That all came from that number 6. Right now, the sun is in Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign, and it will remain there until July 22nd before it enters Leo. We have the month opening in a new moon in Cancer on the 5th, which highlights temperament. And this is a time when feelings might be easily hurt, emotions may be strong, but a moon in Cancer is a great time for hearth and home spells. So if you're feeling that new moon energy and feelings are getting hurt, it might be a good time to focus on the energies of your home and the people within it and to do spell work on that front. The second quarter moon in Libra is on the 13th, so that might help balance out some of those feelings. The full moon this month is also called the thunder moon or buck moon, is on the 21st and is in Capricorn. And at this time, when the sun is also about to be entering Leo, that could cause a clash of energies there while that's happening, because Capricorn and Leo are a bit confrontational. But a moon in Capricorn is great for spells for career and drive, and Leo is as well, so there is some good energy there to work on those things. The month then closes out with the fourth quarter moon in Taurus, which is a much more practical and harmonious sort of energy going on there. The correspondences for the month include the crystals, turquoise and ruby. The animals are the dog, the loon, the woodpecker, and the salmon. The flowers are larkspur and waterlily. And the deities are Demeter, Luna, Mercury, Danu, and Parvati. On to the holidays of the month. As you might know, as far as witchcraft is concerned, we don't have too many that are going on in July, but we do have some ancient festivals that you could use for inspiration and tap into that energy. First up, we have Ludi Apollinares, or the Games of Apollo from ancient Rome, which were held annually from July 6th to July 13th in honor of the god Apollo. These games included theatrical performances, chariot races, and other entertainment. We have Tammuz in Mesopotamia, and in ancient Mesopotamia, this month of July roughly corresponded to the Babylonian month of Tammuz, which was associated with the Sumerian god Dumuzid, whose mythological death and resurrection were commemorated with mourning rituals and festivals at this time. We also have the Heliacal rising of Sirius in Egypt, and this is when the brightest star in the sky marked the beginning of the annual flooding of the Nile River. Typically occurred in July and was celebrated as a crucial agricultural and religious event. And a heliacal rising is something that occurs after a star has been hidden behind the sun for the season and is just returning to visibility in the night sky. We have Hephaestia in Greece, and this was dedicated to the god Hephaestus, or Vulcan. This festival included processions, sacrifices, and athletic contests held in honor of the god of fire and craftsmanship. In ancient China, we had the Festival of the Toad, which was celebrated in July during the Han Dynasty from 206 BCE to 220 CE. And this festival was associated with the mythological figure Liu Hai, the Taoist immortal who was often depicted with a three-legged toad, symbolizing wealth and prosperity. So heading into some of the things that are going on in present day, we've got lots of Independence Days. We've got Canada on July 1st, commemorating the anniversary of the Constitution Act in 1867, which united the three separate colonies of the province of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick into a single dominion within the British Empire. We have Independence Day in the United States on July 4th, marking the anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. We also have Bastille Day in France, celebrated on July 14th, commemorating the French Revolution and the storming of the Bastille prison. There are a few other ones. It is a popular month for Independence Days. And not necessarily a holiday, but something just highlighting the spirit of the season. We do have the Summer Olympics starting on July 26th, held in Paris. And it's interesting that that coincides with International Day of Friendship on July 30th, because tapping into the spirit that's going on for the Olympics makes it a great time for spells for fitness, goals, and also friendship and camaraderie. So specific practices that you could potentially work on this month, because there aren't as many holidays to tap into, not celebrating as many things as there are in, say, December. Something you could absolutely do in July is herbal magic. It is prime time for harvesting and working with herbs that are in full bloom. St. John's wort, chamomile, lavender, those things are often used for protection, healing, relaxation spells. So lots of things that you can do with herbs and really take the time to get to know them and spend time out in nature with them and getting to know their energies and spirits. And I've had lots of herbalists and authors talking about herbalism on the podcast lately for that reason, because it is prime time to get out there and try it for yourself. Also, the season of sun magic. strong presence of the sun. I think we've all been feeling that. But that continues into July, and it is a powerful time for solar magic. So some practices involving sun magic might include creating sun water, so just water charged with solar energy, witches are usually more focused on moon water, but sun water is just as positive and powerful. You could craft sun charms. You could perform rituals at sunrise and sunset. That is something that's popular to do on Litha, but it does not have to just be a Litha only activity. You absolutely can continue that into July. In addition to just the herbal magic, you can also connect with nature in general. Spend time outside, go on meditative walks, collect natural items like stones, feathers, flowers, lots of ways to appreciate nature that you might not be able to do in the winter months. You can also check out if there are any festivals or gatherings. This is the most popular month for various pagan and witchcraft communities to hold festivals. Again, there's that idea of celebrating nature, but it's just the easiest time to get everybody together and have nice weather for the events and have a season where people are more likely to be able to come. So it tends to be these summer months that have the most pagan festivals. So if you are in an area that might have that, if you are around a big city, definitely check that out. It's as easy as a Google search to find out if there are any pagan or witchy festivals coming. If you have any witchcraft or occult stores near you, they might be able to point you in the right direction of any sort of festivals that are going on. So you can share your knowledge, do some group rituals. There are specifically summer solstice festivals that keep on going into July. It is not just Litha only on the 21st, and if you didn't, you're out of luck. They really continue. Lots of gatherings at various sacred sites. So absolutely do check that out if you are interested in finding some community. You don't have to belong to a group and you don't have to go with a friend. People are very open and welcoming. So don't feel like you can't, if you're just on your own, that you can't go to one of these things. You are absolutely going to make friends and community by heading there. And lastly, it's also a great time for divination. Sometimes we forget about this in the summer months in favor of doing divination around Samhain or around Yule, more like looking ahead for the next season and the next year. But July is a good time for reflection and divination to assess the progress that you've already made and then realign any of your goals that you were thinking for the rest of the year. So tarot reading, scrying, any other form of divination are commonly used at this time. That's something that I will myself be working on. So I know a lot of people panicked that we're into the second half of the year and they didn't make as much progress on the goals that they set in January, but 6 months to go is still a ton of time. So you can make a really good amount of progress. And divination might be able to help set you on a better track to figure out where to go next, maybe what to get rid of. That's something that I did myself looking back at January. I'm not the same person I was then, and my life isn't the same. So it was time to tweak those things and be able to just let the goals go off of my list. They weren't serving me anymore, so not only did I change them up and add new ones, but I just dropped some completely. And that is a perfectly fine way of doing things as well. But I did use divination to help me in that tarot reading specifically. There are great spreads, some of which I will show on YouTube as well, of figuring out if you are at a crossroads, which direction to take. So multiple forms of divination can help with that as well. So that's everything that I have for you today for the July magic coming up on Monday. And I hope that you are ready for the month as well and are having a wonderful summer wherever you are at. That's everything that I have for this week. I will see you all next week.
Need even more witchcraft in your life? Subscribe to Witch Wednesdays on Patreon and YouTube for all types of exclusive bonus content like spells, recipes, book reviews, and more, or even order personalized tarot readings and spells. Be sure to follow on Instagram at Witch Wednesdays Podcast. And you can find all these links and more at witchwednesdays.com.